This year, I got a new job that has been paying me very well. So therefore, for this Christmas, I decided to splurge on everyone. In particular, I spent a lot of money on my tween daughter, and she deserves it 100%. She's been pushing herself in school, helping me around the house without being asked, and always being the kindest soul you'll ever meet. However, when my mother-in-law came early in the morning and saw how the gifts under our tree were much more than usual, she asked why. I told her I had bought everyone a bunch of gifts, including her. She then asked how many gifts I got my daughter, and I told her about the 3 big gifts and 3 mini ones. Apparently, this outraged her because she started saying that a child that old did not deserve that many gifts, and she'd be taking away the gifts she bought my daughter so that my daughter wouldn't be too spoiled. I told her that was unfair, especially since my mother-in-law promised my daughter a doll for Christmas, and my daughter was looking forward to it. My mother-in-law said, let it be a lesson to my daughter that she can't get all she asked for in life. Look, I understand that, but it's not like I showered my daughter with gifts every day. And if anything, Christmas is the day you're supposed to spoil your children. But my wife told me to let it go, and it was her mother's gift, and therefore she could do anything she wanted with it. And her mother agreed, saying it was her right. And if we were going to play with that ideology, then so be it. So I decided to remove the $600 designer bag I got my mother-in-law, the thing I knew she wanted the most, and kept a $40 robe instead. Once my mother-in-law opened her present, she was disappointed, asking if that was all for me, because everyone else got more expensive gifts increasingly for me. And I said yes, and I apologized if I disappointed her, but we can't always get the gifts we hoped for. After this happened, there was tension all day, and once everyone left, my wife was furious that I bought everyone things that were way more expensive than her mother's. I explained that I did buy her mom a $600 designer bag, but decided against it once she took away the gift she bought my daughter. My wife started saying I was very petty and that her mother and my daughter didn't relate, especially since my daughter got so many gifts from me that she didn't even care that my mother-in-law didn't buy her a doll. Of course, my daughter wouldn't show she was upset, but my mother-in-law only received some cheap robe. Throughout the day, she's been making me feel guilty, and now I feel as if I should give my mother-in-law the bag tomorrow. But my sister's convincing me to stay true to my decision and return the bag. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your mother-in-law is, though. She wanted to teach your daughter a lesson by not giving her a gift that she'd been looking forward to because you don't get everything you ask for. She doesn't want your daughter to be spoiled. But was she upset because others received better gifts than her? But you don't get everything that you asked for. Isn't that correct, grandmother? She's angry because it's a bitter pill that she swallowed. Grandmother learned that words have meanings and actions have consequences. You didn't take the gift away from mother-in-law. You simply didn't give her the gift. Using her own warped ideology, that meant she thought it was okay to act that way towards your daughter. I can't believe your wife isn't standing up for your daughter. Is your wife your daughter's mother? It concerns me that your wife seems uninterested in your daughter's feelings. Agreed. You need to sit your wife down and have a serious talk. Your mother-in-law punished your daughter as a proxy for imposing her values on you. Your daughter's innocent in all of this. Make it clear to your wife that you will not let anyone use your daughter as a pawn, regardless of whether she realizes it. Your mother-in-law was willfully cruel to a child. You will not be keeping the peace. You'll be setting boundaries. And if your wife has issues with that, then you two have a serious issue. Oh, get a refund for the bag and buy a doll for your daughter. I'm petty. Buy the doll and give the daughter the bag to carry around her doll in. But honestly, it sounds like some money should be spent on your wife going to therapy. She needs to work through why she doesn't care about how her kid feels, her mother disrespecting her partner, and why she's prioritizing her mother's feelings over you and your kid. My son's school releases some annual merch for the different houses, and it's an extra cost that we must pay cash to pre-order. I gave my son $50 to get the hoodie, and the change would be his to do whatever. That day, my son returned and told us his wallet had disappeared from his bag. I gave him more money just for the hoodie, and we reported the missing wallet to the school, but nothing turned up. On Monday, I was waiting to pick my son up when this lady came and introduced herself as Bob's mother. She handed me my son's wallet, it has his name on it, and apologized and said she found it in Bob's room, and he confessed that he'd stolen the wallet to pay for his hoodie since she couldn't afford it, and gave the change to her as money he found on the street. She reimbursed me half and promised to give the rest later, but I told her to keep it. The money wasn't the problem. It was the disrespect of digging through someone else's crap to steal. I was raised to own up to my crap and apologize directly myself, not to hide behind my mother's skirt. So I asked where Bob was. She went and brought the kid over, and he started apologizing. I stopped him and told him that he didn't steal from me, so he was apologizing to the wrong person. We waited a few minutes until my son came out with his friends. He restarted his apology, but you could barely hear anything from the softness and stuttering. So I told him we couldn't hear and that he should speak up. He raised his voice, but all he said was sorry. My son asked what he was sorry for, and Bob went quiet. So I again jumped in to tell him we had to get back home, so he should hurry up. Bob started tearing up, so his mother explained everything to my son and apologized again. He accepted it, and we went on our separate ways. When we got home, I told my wife, and she scolded me for intimidating and embarrassing the boy. He's a young teen, in front of his peers, just for wanting to fit in. The merch isn't something everyone gets, so I don't get the whole fitting in narrative that strong, as if he'd stand out when that's not the case. I wasn't overly mad or shouting at him, but I see how I could be an idiot. So I'm going to say not the idiot. The kid's mother should have been saying exactly what you said. My daughter stole once. I brought her back into the store, made her go up to the cashier and return it, a candy bar, and apologize. She definitely learned her lesson and still remembers it even now. He will remember this next time he tries snooping in your son's or anyone else's belongings. And as for the money, you're a bigger man than me. I would have made them pay the full stolen amount on the spot, but that's just me. You are the idiot. Although, to be fair, you didn't cross that line until this bit. I jumped in again to tell him we had to get back home, so he should hurry up. Bob didn't jump your kid in the parking lot, and he's not trying to pretend he didn't do anything wrong here. It's fine to still insist on a direct apology, but if you're more concerned with confirming he's genuinely sorry and won't do it again than making public humiliation, give him the time he needs to say what you want him to say. I 100% agree, and people saying not the idiot have no idea how to raise children. The mother brought her son to you to give it back and make it right. She didn't try to hide it or excuse it. Also, you need to find out which punishment she's already given him. It's not your place to try and educate him so he doesn't do it again. What you did was pure revenge and not justice. You wanted revenge for your son, which is a huge idiotic move. I, female 32, married my husband, 37, a year ago. Before I met him, I started a small business, which I eventually grew to the point of making a nice income, a really nice one. I'm by no means rich, but I'm well off. My husband, on the other hand, makes minimum wage working at a shop. It never bothered me, and we combine our finances. Unfortunately, he's been spending irresponsibly, which has become a problem recently, but this is not about that. He invited his mates for a Christmas breakfast with their girlfriends and wife, and we saw them this morning. All his mates are from his job, so they earn similarly. I didn't even think about it until it hit me when they started commenting on our house and pointing things out. Some comments from the wives were not so nice. I don't think I was meant to hear them, such as, "I'm showing off," or "it's too flashy," or "money doesn't buy you taste," said when looking at my green couch, which is perfectly tame and normal. During breakfast, some of his mates had a few drinks, and not even wine. They had some lager and got giddy, started asking how much things cost, etc. I dodged the questions, but my husband has been answering them truthfully, and eventually he told them exactly how much I make. I was furious. I'm very private about my finances. Not even my mom knows exactly how much I make. And here he is telling people I barely know my financial details. So when they left, I blew up at him about that. And the lager I didn't think he had, served with breakfast and having drunk people over at 11 a.m. He's saying that I'm uptight and should loosen up a bit, and that it's not a good look, and I should stop looking down at them because they work in a supermarket. I'm not. I asked if that's how he felt, and he said no, but they felt like I was showing off by being all dressed up. One of the wives showed up in PJ pants. He started going off, and I decided I'd had enough. He had been drinking, and we wouldn't have any discussion. I'm still angry. I told him I wasn't going to his mom's for Christmas dinner because I didn't want to show off, and stayed home. He's still at his mom's, absolutely wasted, and I'm just getting angrier and angrier and need a reality check. Am I the idiot for getting angry at him for telling people how much I make? So your husband is spending irresponsibly when you have combined finances, letting people insult you inside your own home, drinking too much by 11 a.m., sharing your private information with people you barely know, ghosting you and running to his mommy's house. Not the idiot. It's only been a year, OP. This is going to get worse. First, consider your boundaries and then stick to them, or you'll eventually feel guilty about being you. No one should have to deal with that from their life partner. I hope you got a prenup. Also, for what it's worth, green couches are fantastic. And he's not only letting his friends insult his wife, but he's also actually encouraging and fueling it. That's the real reason he told them how much money OP makes, if you ask me. He was enjoying his friends berating his wife, which was his way of giving them even more ammo to use against her. Passive-aggressive idiot that he is. What a lousy group of people. Birds of a feather flock together. They all behave terribly and owe you an apology, especially your jealous husband. OP, get out now. The longer you stay married, the more spousal support you'll have to pay to your reverse snob husband. Money doesn't buy taste. Wow. And being a wage slave is no guarantee of good manners either. Your husband wants you to feel bad about your success, and at the same time, he's benefiting from it. I, 27 female, am the weird, quiet one in my family. Holidays growing up were mostly my brother and cousins running around and breaking things, while I got in trouble for trying to sneak off to read a book. So rude. Pay attention to your family. Now my brother, 31, has 6 kids, and things are exactly the same, just with even more kids and chaos than before. I moved back to my hometown for a job a few months ago. My brother and his wife insisted that I do Christmas at their house, since I hadn't done the big family thing in 4 years. I thought I would just drop by, eat some food I didn't have to cook, and leave. When I got to their house, it wasn't just them, but there were also 2 of our cousins and all of their kids, plus some friends I didn't know. Half the adults were already drinking. The kids were all hyped up because of Christmas, and the TV was turned way up. And of course, kids are kids. They want attention and hugs, and they want to show you what Santa brought them. It's normal. But I'm not normal, and the twins are going through a screeching phase, and the youngest likes to climb people like they're trees. So it was a lot. I tried a few times to take a break in the garage or upstairs guest room, but I couldn't get more than 5 minutes alone before I either had kids following me or sister-in-law coming in and going, "Here's Auntie, we found her." The only place where no one followed me was the laundry room, where they had piled all the boxes and wrapping paper from the morning. So for probably half an hour, I just sat on the floor like a happy little trash goblin. When I got back to the group, people were angry with me. My sister-in-law and cousins all say that as the only single adult there, it was my responsibility to watch the kids so the parents could get the day off. No one actually asked me to do this. They just assumed I would. My brother's offended that I would hide from his children. I was hiding from everyone. Even the oldest 2 kids were mad because they got roped into watching the younger ones when no one could find me. I do feel bad about this. Am I the idiot for hiding from my very noisy family? Not the idiot. Definitely nope, nope, nope. It was never and should never have been your responsibility to watch the kids. They should respect your boundaries as well. And if you don't want to listen to the kids screeching, you shouldn't have to. It sounds like you were invited, not because they genuinely wanted you there as a loving family member, but because they wanted you to be the nanny. They expected you to babysit without ever asking, and you feel guilty? For future family events, I would strongly encourage you to figure out if you're being invited as a family member or an employee. If you're being invited solely to do work, you should be fine with arranging more enjoyable ways to celebrate your holiday, e.g., sorry, I'm going to my friend's house. I don't feel like working on the holiday, but I'm sure you can find someone else to babysit the kids. My female teen, Mom 40, didn't have the best boyfriends when I was growing up, and that caused me to have a lot of issues now that I'm a bit older. So when Jake, 35 male, came into our lives, he was amazing. He treated me like I was his kid, not something just to be tolerated, and definitely never mistreated me as some had. I remember he threw me a nice birthday party when I was 11 for the first time ever. It was just me and him and my younger brother because my mom was out of town, and he bought us pizza and a cake. He bought me a brand new sundress and took me to get my nails done. When I couldn't sleep at night due to past issues, he would make the best hot chocolate and we would watch TV, and he'd tell me about his job until I got sleepy. When the dog chewed up my old stuffed animal to a point beyond repair, I was heartbroken. He took me to one of his friend's house, and she made me a new one that looked similar and wasn't stuffed, and they had me stuff the remaining bits of my old one into it, and I still sleep with it every night. He got my ears checked, and I got hearing aids, took me to therapy and doctor's appointments and father-daughter dances, and helped me with my homework, and made me want to be an engineer like him. So when my mom broke up with him, I don't think she understood how hard it was for us kids. She just expected us to be okay being alone most of the time. Again, after 6 years of having him around all the time. I don't want to go back to my mom dating around, and I'm just tired of her never being around and taking away the one parent we've truly ever had. When Jake left, he even made a point of getting a 3-bedroom apartment, just in case. He's currently working with my mom to see if he could get custody of us, even saying he'd be willing to go to court for it. Jake takes care of us. He's the one who's been there for us, not my mom. I know this because my mom comes home screaming at us about it. She and I got into a heated argument the other night, ending with her kicking me out and spending the night at Jake's. She said that if I wanted to move in with Jake, she'd let us, but she never wanted to see us again after that. I discussed it with my brother, and we both want to go that route. She's my mother, yes, but she hasn't been there for us. Not the idiot. If this guy is happy to take you in and can provide a stable and caring environment for you and your brother while your mom isn't, I wouldn't hesitate, if legalities permit. You may find your mom will come around after you move out, and you can have at least an arm's length relationship. If she doesn't, she's chosen herself over you, and you should do the same. OP, try to record what she says, or save the text of her discussing kicking you out or saying you're allowed to stay with Jake. Make a detailed list of incidents with past boyfriends your mom knew about and did nothing. If you have pictures from the dances, I'd say those, as well as proof of the doctor's visits he took you to. I was in a similar situation, and doing this helped my dad get custody. OP, I'm really glad Jake cares for you and your brother, and you should not feel one shred of guilt about going to live with him. Your mother may play all sorts of mind games and try to make you feel guilty, but she's not a loving parent or a safe provider. Stay strong for yourself and for your brother, and ignore whatever manipulative crap she throws at you. Good luck, OP. Hopefully getting kicked out as a kid can help Jake's case to get custody.